friends, thanks for joining me today. Today I am going to show you how I made some Christmas shaker greeting cards, and I am participating in the Christmas Sparkle collaboration that is being hosted by Kathy and Patti. Their channels are Kathy's Favorite Things and Life with Patti. There is a list of collaborators in my description box, so go check them out so that you can see what everybody is making for this Christmas Sparkle collaboration. We'll be uploading on November 7th, that's today, November 14th, and it is optional for us to upload on November 21st. So I'll have to see how it goes with my schedule, but I'm hoping that I will be able to participate on the 21st. I am using some images from Dreaming Hearts Company, and these images come from her paper pack. It's the Vintage Christmas Ephemera Jumbo Pack, and so that's where I got these images, and I just love them. Now these are only 4 of the images. The pack is huge, but I just chose these 4 to work with. I will make sure to link her Etsy shop into my description box so that if you're interested in some vintage images, you can go check that out. As you can see, the first thing I'm doing is inking up the edges, and I'm using yellow on most of them, but on a few of them I put either blue or black in the corners. Now the first image, I'm going to go ahead and use my Fabri-Tac, and I'm going to attach it to this beautiful silvery wallpaper. Since I'm making 4 cards, I'm going to go ahead and do the steps in order, like, glue them all down onto the backing that I want, and then I'll take them all over to my sewing machine and do that, and so on and so forth. And that way I think the process will go quicker than if I'm making one card in its entirety at a time. After I glue these down, I am going to take them all over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to sew 3 of the sides, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the sequins in for the shaker, and then I will sew up the side that was left open. Now I'm going to go ahead and clean up all the little threads, and then I'm going to go around with my scissors and cut the edges of the tulle off. I didn't want to cut it before I sewed it, just in case I messed up, right? I just wanted there to be lots of tulle so that if I didn't sew in a perfect straight line, it wouldn't be a problem. So I'm just going to go ahead. You can see me, I'm trimming it up now, just kind of cleaning it up. And I feel like that was a pretty easy way to do it. I'm not an expert sewer, so I kind of like to give myself a little bit of room for mistakes. Now that I got the fabric trimmed up, I'm going to go ahead and put them on my paper cutter, and now I'm going to cut off the excess card that I don't want. It's not the card actually, it's the backing, but it is cardstock on each one of them. Here's a quick peek of each one so far. I am absolutely in love with them, and I'm not even done yet. Alright, so now I've decided to put a little bit more ink on the edges of some of them. Since the cardstock I used here is pink, I'm putting some bright pink around the edges, and I think that's going to look real nice on that one. And then on this one, I'm using a really, really deep blue. It's almost purple, but it won't show up purple at all. It'll just look like a really dark blue. So that's what I'm going to use on this one. I think that's going to look nice. And then on this one, since there's a lot of pink in this image and on the cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and use some pink as well. Now I have this beautiful paper pack, and it's called Lost and Found Market Street. I picked this up, I believe, at Tuesday Morning like 2 years ago, and I absolutely love it. I use it very sparingly because I just think the pages are so beautiful. But I thought they would be a really nice match to these shakers that I'm making. So I decided what I would do is take the shakers and, put them on the piece of paper, see if they work, because this is what we're going to use as the actual card. As you can see, I'm just trying them out, looking at each one, seeing if the paper works, seeing if it does, which one does it work best with. And then I'm just tearing off that sheet and setting it aside with the card so that we can, finish up the job. I hope everybody's doing really good while I'm going through this and picking out papers. I'll just take a second to say hi, and like I said, I hope you're doing well. I am doing pretty good, and I'm happy to say that. I've undergone some testing. As you guys know, I did my food sensitivity test, and if you're interested in that, the video is up. And then I also went for some blood work last week, and I also went for an x-ray, and I also went for a scan. And so, just working on figuring out what's going on with me so that I can do the very best that I can to take care of myself so that I can feel good and so that I can be healthy. And I have to say, I'm suspicious that stress has triggered some things in my body to feel worse than they have to be. And so that's something I'm going to be taking a really deep look at, because if I can eliminate some of that, then I'm going to do that as well. All right, now we are going to take each one of the pieces of paper that we chose, and we're folding that in half because that makes the card. And then I'll put my shaker piece on it, figure out how much of this paper I want to cut down. We are finally having a bit of a break in the weather. We have been down in the 80s, which I know that sounds quite warm to some of you, but for us, that's really nice and so much better than the 90s. So I'm really enjoying that. The humidity is down a bit most days, which also helps it feel a little bit cooler. And then in the evening, we are going down into the 60s and 70s, so things are cooling off at night, which just feels amazing. So I thought I would share a little weather report with you guys. All right, it is time to go ahead and adhere our shaker cards to the cardstock, so that's what we're going to do now. And I did end up using my clothespins to just hold the paper down. Like, I press it down and all of that good stuff, but just to kind of hold it in place, particularly on the corners, and that way the glue, holds those corners down really well. For the final touches, I'm going to add a little bit of trim to each one of the cards, and I didn't film doing all of that because my older kids came home, and Brandon had bought some of those, what do they call those Halloween candies? Candy corn, but it was like that turkey flavor. There was like turkey flavor stuffing, green bean, and then he was doing daring us to eat them, so we got all involved in that, and they were disgusting. The cranberry tasted good, and the coffee tasted good, and the apple pie tasted good, but everything else was really gross. And we all had felt nauseous after we even tried just one. So anyway, there was so much commotion with all of that going on. But you can see here that on this particular card, I added some beautiful green trim. Friends, I am very excited to show you my completed shaker cards. I had so much fun making these. You could see pretty much how I put them together. If you have any questions, of course, leave it in the description box and I will do my best to answer those questions for you. But here's the first one. Let's give it a little shake. Now, I didn't overload this one with sequins because I don't want to cover the art. I was inspired by the art to use the colors within it. So I've got some pink, light blue, dark blue, and these kind of look gold, but they're greenish gold sequins that I put in here, and they are all different sizes. The next one, I really love this one. It's so different, and of course I used trim hair. Oh yeah, and I don't know if I showed you this blue rickrack trim that I put on here. I'm pretty sure I told you guys that I had stitched around the edges, but if I didn't, I did. I stitched the material on here, and then I put the shaker inside and then did the final stitching up this side. And then I added a little piece of trim on each one, but it's different trim on each one. The inside is blank, and then there's the back. So here's this one. I love this one. It's so unique. And again, stitched it, and the card went on top of some really nice wallpaper that's kind of this gray metallic look, and then I used this sparkly sheer tulle over top and put the shakers in. And again, didn't overload it with shakers because I didn't want to cover up the art. Also, I used sequins that were the same color as what is in the art, so there was some orange, kind of a bronze, and then some green. There's some greenery up here, so I used green. And then I used blue because her chair is blue and her dress is blue. So there's that one. I of course used green trim right here on the edge. So I love the way that one turned out. I think it's pretty unique. And then on this one, I used pink, blue, and that greenish gold shakers. Those are the colors in the art piece. And then I used a piece of pink and gold trim right up the sides. And also you can see the stitching. And I believe that I showed how I used yellow and black ink on the edges of this one. And then last but not least, I love this one, it's so pretty. I used light blue, dark blue, and silver inside the shaker. And then of course you can see I used sparkly gold tulle. Obviously sewed that around, and it was sewn onto this paper that has like a newspaper look. And then I used a piece of beautiful lace. This was gifted to me in Happy Mail. I don't remember who gave it to me, but it's gorgeous, and I think it's perfect on this shaker card. So friends, thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching, how I made these shakers, and please go check out Kathy and Patti and all of the other collaborators that are participating in the Christmas collaboration with Patti and Kathy. And as always, thanks for watching. See you soon.